Oh, we don't have much going on, other than Russia and Ukraine. And anyway, should we start? I guess I'm starting, huh? I guess I already started.
So Nancy Pelosi is criticizing Joe Manchin for blaming the Biden administration for worsening inflation. More stimulus money is now being sent out to states and cities, and more financial relief can be sent out to struggling people. So this is your fourth stimulus check update and Social Security news. Earlier this week, Nancy Pelosi announced that skyrocketing inflation is due to more people entering the workforce, and that Senate Democrat Joe Manchin is wrong to claim that President Biden's $1.75 trillion Build Back Better Act would worsen inflation. During an appearance on ABC News, Pelosi was asked to explain what Democrats in Congress are doing to address rising inflation, which is up 7.5% in the past year. This is marking the steepest increase in 40 years. Pelosi said the fact that people have jobs always contributes to an increase in inflation, and that's a good thing. But inflation is not very, very good, and we have to contain it. Speaker Pelosi also touted the Competes Act, which passed the House earlier this month by a 222 to 210 largely partisan vote, and it addressed supply chain disruptions exacerbated by the crisis. The bill includes a $52 billion CHIPS fund to bring semiconductor fabrication back to the country, and a $45 billion investment to ensure critical goods are made in the United States. Pelosi said during her interview, "What contributes to inflation? Many people have jobs, scarcity of product, which makes prices go up, and the rest." So we passed the Competes Act last Friday, and this was a giant step for it. Pelosi also prompted Biden's Build Back Better Act, a $1.75 trillion economic and climate package. It is all but dead due to Manchin's opposition in the evenly divided Senate. She said, "Look, Joe Manchin, as you said, as is the senator that counts, and every senator counts. And we have legislation that is so transformative for our country." Nancy Pelosi continued to say we have inflation, and it's very important for us to address it. It must be brought down. But it's not right, with all due respect, to say that the Biden administration is to blame. Manchin said passing Biden's Build Back Better bill would only add fuel to the already burning economy. But Pelosi pushed back on this, claiming it's a deficit reduction bill. Let's not forget that calls for a fourth check in the country are still ongoing and continue to grow, with politicians and campaigners demanding more support amid the crisis. One new form of financial help is a $1,400 payment in 2022 for millions of people, and according to the IRS, if your child was born in 2021, you could be owed up to $1,400 in tax credit from the IRS. So here's what parents of babies born last year should know before filing their 2021 tax returns. Any parent or guardian who added a new dependent in 2021 can claim a recovery rebate credit to receive up to $1,400 for each child born in 2021, for whom they didn't receive a third round EIP check. The stimulus checks were issued between March and December of 2021. For eligible parents and guardians, the amount of recovery rebate credit they may be entitled to is based on their income and how many dependents are listed on their 2021 tax return. In late January, the IRS said that it began mailing out letters to those who received the third round of payments to help people determine if they're eligible for the recovery rebate. So the amount of 2021 recovery rebate credit you get will reduce the amount of tax you owed in 2021. Everybody, that's the breaking news about the 4 stimulus checks that I want you to know. So if you have any more questions about this, leave them in the comments, and I'll do my very best in answering this.
We're smart about it. We've talked about that, you and I. What steps are you taking together with industry, workers, local communities, and tribal nations to help us secure domestic sources of critical minerals in the right way?
Yeah, well, first of all, I can't impress upon you, Mr. President, how important your words are to the community. You heard that in Sylvia reflected in her comments. But look, at the end of the day, there is anxiety that, with what we refer to as the Saudi Arabia of lithium down there in Imperial Valley, this extraordinary economic opportunity that now presents itself, that people can be left behind. And to hear you reinforce that frame, that it's not just about growth in the abstract, it's about inclusion. It's about reconciling the past and making sure that our values are front and center in our policy to accelerate into the future. And so just those words are important, but I want you to know we're following up by codifying them and organizing with Sylvia and her team with a community benefits package, focusing not just on the economic opportunity, but making sure that the growth and inclusion strategies include local hires, include local benefits in a sustainable way. And that's what's so exciting from my perspective, because there's an old African proverb that says, you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And I think the opportunity to set this up where we can go deep in these conversations today, where we can accelerate those investments, presents itself anew. And you're giving us enormous amount of energy in this space with these new resources and a resourceful mindset, where we also can address the twin problem, which you began with, and that is national security and recognizing and reconciling the world we're living in. And what are the trend lines that define that world, and becoming more supply chain, less dependent, but more independent, and providing those domestic opportunities. And I'm very prideful, Mr. President. California is still the most dominant manufacturing state in America. 26% of your jobs, American jobs, came out of California in December, 26%. We're really proud of the American job recovery. We're really proud of California's approach, but it's around creating policy that it could accelerate that growth, but again, with this mindset around sustainability. And so thank you for, again, your leadership, and we're really looking forward. We think this is big. We don't want to understate it. We also don't want to overstate it. We're still doing a lot of the due diligence, but if it's as big as it appears to be, this is a game changer in terms of our efforts to transition to low carbon green growth and to radically change the way we produce and consume energy. And this is a hinge moment.
A year ago, I issued an executive order to prioritize strengthening our domestic supply chain. Because what I found out was that, if I was going to follow through on my commitment to say we were going to make it in America and build it in America, and have all of it built in America, we needed a supply chain that was reliable, and including critical materials like lithium, graphite, rare earth materials, which are badly needed for so many American products, but we're so much and we were in so desperate need of. These minerals power phones and computers, household appliances, electric vehicles, and batteries, solar panels, wind turbines, and so much more. Without these minerals, we simply cannot function. They can't function. And we expect the demand for them to increase by 400 to 600% over the next several decades. And up to now, we've had to import a significant portion of them, close to 100% importation from other countries, particularly China, Australia, and Chile. And when I signed the executive order last year, I was determined to change that. And we've seen what happens when we become dependent on other countries for essential goods, like computer chips. Everyone's become aware of that. Because the computer chips are so badly needed, why did the cost of automobiles skyrocket and become about a third of the reason for the increase in inflation? Is because they didn't have the computer chips. You can't build an automobile today without those chips, as well as personal